Hello, everybody.
Is our light supposed to be on?
No,
no, you're just
we're
using
good.
that for...
Yeah, we're just,
Got it.
exactly. Hi, it's Natalie. It's Natalie from Creative Makers. Hello, everybody. I'm so happy you're here. They will come, by the way. They're not here yet, but they will come. I am sitting today with Juliana Poldi. Couldn't even get it out of my mouth. And we are in Idlewild, California. And I stumbled into her gallery through a third party. I'm not even going to tell you how that all happened, but it was a blessing. And here I am with Juliana. And Juliana is an artist, a gallery owner, an author. She has product. We're going to talk about all of this today. Hello.
Hi.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for letting me come over.
Well, thank you.
It's a long drive, but it's okay. I liked it.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I was like,
If I had a place, I'd let you spend the night.
it's okay. I gotta go to work tomorrow.
But it's a beautiful place to come.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful here. All right, so we're gonna start the way I always start. Tell me about being creative as a kid. What did that look like for you?
Okay, so first memory was when our property, there was a threat of a fire because there were fires in the mountains.
Were you here?
At the Old Idlewild Road. I grew up on the Old Idlewild Road.
Okay, so this is a mountain that we're in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we're in California, so keep that in mind.
Right. So I guess one of the projects in kindergarten or first grade was, do you remember those plaster, we put it in a milk carton?
Yeah.
And we had those paper milk, yeah, we still do, I guess.
Yeah.
And carve it, and then I had painted it black. So my mom, my family said, okay, you get to bring one object because we were being evacuated, and that was it. And it was my black carving, plaster carving from class. And so I guess from that time or that memory in my family, all the gifts that I ever got after that were black because my favorite color was black, according to them. So,
but was it really your favorite color, or was it just a moment?
Black.
You love black.
I do. I just feel like black is so soothing, and you can just lose yourself in it, and it's protective in a way, and
this is really
it's
interesting.
Elegant, and it's mysterious, and it represents the night and the mystery and the feminine, right?
Wow, this is like something I've never thought about before in conjunction with artists and their favorite colors and how they felt about them. And I've definitely never thought about this in terms of the color black. No, this is really seriously interesting. Do you remember when you did that piece? I mean, I know that you were only 5 or so.
5,
Yeah, do you remember what it was about?
That racks my brain.
Yeah, so this is something that you thought about too. Why did I do that?
Like what? Yeah, what was it? But I must have, it's all intuitive, right? When we're kids, and I feel like that's what I keep with me is that intuitive. That's really important to me, is to just stay very intuitive and loose. But now that you say that, can I jump ahead?
Yeah, jump.
Okay.
What do you want to tell me?
I'm jumping to graduate school,
and
one of my professors, mentors, told me to make, I guess I was making black paintings again.
Oh.
And he told me to spend a month on just one painting because I must have been
You were working fast.
So I'm thinking, how am I going to spend a month on one black painting? Like, it's black, right? So I did. I made a black heart with a lot of texture, and then I believe I added gold to it later on. But then the school that I went to is Arts and Consciousness program, and I started out in the master's program, which is like art therapy classes. And so we went into an exploration of what that painting was for me. And I had a memory of being 4 years old at my grandmother's funeral and looking down into the hole into the grave, into the hole they cut in the earth, and how rich and dark and black that was. And so, and that just, it made sense to me.
Wow.
That, see, it's bringing tears. That the love that I had is now there, right? Anyway, but there's more. I mean, there's always a thread to everything, I feel, when I look back.
All right, so let's go back then. So we've established your favorite color is black, and we're moving in. How did your, I mean, at that point, I mean, every kid loves art in that moment in time, but how did that manufacture as you were moving forward? I mean, did you just, as you just connected to it? I mean, was it always a form of expression for you?
Painting?
Anything creative.
Anything creative. Yes, I started cutting my hair.
Oh, that's right.
And doll's hair. I really like the feel of scissors with fabric. So that sensation, and then all of a sudden the division that happens, and then you get to make something new, like a collage, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that layering. But I think I really love music and song and dance, and I was really upset that I didn't get to have dance lessons. And
Were you a musician too?
no,
No?
but
You just
you
were
know,
in love with it.
I was the youngest of 6, so we all had piano lessons, and my siblings had dance lessons, and I didn't, for whatever reason, I didn't get that. The teacher was gone, or I got piano lessons, but the only thing I liked about that was the smell of garlic from my piano teachers. So my senses were active, like sight, sound, touch.
Oh my God. Like, I went to a whole nother place. I'm trying to understand. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well,
everything inspires me.
yeah.
How's that?
I want to interrupt you. We're in her gallery right now, and her gallery is open.
Hi.
And there's people that are walking in, and
Another artist.
so there may be moments where we actually step out of the interview because you'll be attending to your clients. So just, do you need to do that now? Are you okay?
I think she's good. Are you good? Yeah.
She's good. Okay.
She's a local
A local lover.
A local
Yes.
lover, yes.
Nice. All right. So, okay. So, so what happened? Did you start drawing? Did you start painting?
No.
Did you discover it? I mean,
I'll tell you.
You also,
Okay.
hair. So.
Yeah, so I was doing that. So around 12, I started cutting my friend's hair,
Uh-huh.
and that was fun. But, you know, my mom grew up in an artist colony in Budapest.
Oh.
And so she had brought art from Europe, and then so there was etchings and wood carvings that her father did, and inlaid woodwork, and but she always bought the Metropolitan Museum calendar, and sometimes would save the images and have them posted around the house. So I was always looking at that, just
You were
studying.
inundated.
I was studying it, and it wasn't until there came the time that they actually put Picasso in one of them. And when I saw a Picasso, I thought, oh, I think I can be an artist.
Wow. So, okay, so you were a hairdresser first, or what happened first? I mean, did you go to college, get your art degree, then become a hairdresser, then went back to art? I mean, what happened?
I left high school early to get my cosmetology license, and then I decided I still wanted my diploma, and so I finished high school, and then I decided I wanted to go to college, and so I put myself through undergrad by cutting hair.
Okay, so so that makes sense.
Right, and then
And your undergrad degree was in?
Business.
It was in business, okay.
Business administration. So then my friends are graduating. It's been 4 years. I'm going part-time because I'm working, and I'm not really excited about it. And one of my roommates in college was an art major, and I think I was living vicariously through her when she'd come home with her projects. And so when she came home one day and told me that she switched to being a business major, my heart sunk. Yeah.
It was almost like you guys switched places.
So, and I remember her sharing one of her little projects with me where we were just painting. I don't even think it was a school project. It was just something fun to do. And we were painting on ceramic planters, containers. And that moment, I had an aha moment. I thought, I will never be bored a day in my life with creativity. How could you possibly? It's endless. It's endless.
I know.
And it was just magic. That was like the answer, my key to living the rest of my life, was knowing that.
Wow. That is a big point.
It was huge.
Yeah.
It was huge.
Okay, so then at that point you were like, that's it, I'm dropping everything and I'm...
So at that point, I knew I didn't want to be a hairdresser my entire life, but...
Now in reality, how long were you a hairdresser? Like 10 years?
Off and on for probably 25 years.
Oh, okay, that's a long time.
25 years. But so then I decided, so I had a conversation with my older brother and I told him my situation, my circumstance. And he said, well, what about hairdressing? How much do you love that? Is there more that you can learn and excel or, advance with that? And I said, oh, yes. If I go to Vidal Sassoon in London, I could learn a lot. So he said, quit school, save your money, go to Vidal Sassoon in London.
Oh, really?
Which is not what I was expecting to hear, right? So I did.
Okay.
I got to Vidal Sassoon. I was 22 at this time, and first 2 weeks I did the training. I did 4 weeks of advanced training because I already was licensed, right? So the second 2 weeks was in another part of the school. And I think the first or second day I'm cutting a client's hair or a model's hair, and the instructor says, put your comb down and finish that haircut with just your hands and the scissors. And I was like, really? He's turning me into an artist. I'm sculpting now, right?
Oh, wow.
And so the freedom that gave me was
just gave me goosebumps.
That is another. Well, it was the light bulb that people say they get. That was like an explosion in my mind of just unlimited possibility now. And I decided right then that I would go back when I go back to the States. That I would take art classes and find which one was the right fit.
So okay, so you're at Vidal Sassoon though, and you're being taught this other way to cut hair.
Yes. That
is completely sculptural.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, did you take to that like a fish to water?
Yes.
And so I mean, you were just so excited about that, but even though you were excited about doing that in that way, you still wanted to go further.
Yes.
Wow. That is amazing.
So. Yeah, I think it was just,
You needed one step to get to the other.
Yeah, and it was a means to end it. Well, because I just felt that at some point there'd be a limit, and it just wasn't, it's just limiting myself to hair, right?
Yeah.
And I wanted more.
Yeah. So, so then you came, so tell me about, oh my God. So tell me about the program that you went to when you decided to be an artist, basically. Because you mentioned it, and I don't know about this.
The arts and consciousness?
Yeah, arts and consciousness.
Okay, well, there was a few steps before.
Okay, go.
Okay, so when I came back from Europe, I went to the City College in Phoenix, and I took drawing, I took photography, I took anything. I just wanted to sample to see where I would land. And I really enjoyed photography, but that was because I was in the dark room playing with the chemicals, and my hands were in it, so I'm really tactile oriented. The f-stop and all the aperture and all that, it didn't
connect.
It was too heady for me, so I had gotten admitted to the U of A in the photography school, and then walking across the campus in the middle of July, I said, no, I can't do this. So I went to Santa Barbara, where I had friends, and I started taking art classes there.
Wait a minute, U of A is University of the Arts?
U of A, Arizona,
okay.
Tucson.
All right. Okay.
Tucson, okay. So I decided, okay, can't do
and
that.
And they didn't have an art program there? Or
oh, they probably did, but it was just so hot, and I wanted to be in Santa Barbara after spending a few weeks there.
Yeah.
So I went to the City College there, and I had in a design class, one of the instructors walked up to me, because she'd give us an assignment to draw, trying to encourage our creative, our imagination. Like, how can you address one idea in many different ways? And so the one I remember is, she said, draw a dozen eggs, or draw eggs. And so I wrote E, G, G, and made the G's look like eggs.
Fair.
Right. So it's like, I'm not going to draw a dozen eggs. It's too many eggs. But she came over and she said, do you realize that you have so many ideas, and it's a lot of people struggle with just getting one idea out on paper? And I'm like, no, I didn't realize.
Right, you never even thought about it.
No, it doesn't. Okay, so I just took note of that, like that it could be a problem.
Or a blessing.
Or a blessing.
Yeah.
But that wasn't my design. Was not it. Clay, I loved it. I loved having my hands in the materials, but I didn't feel like I could execute when I see other people working. So it wasn't until I entered into UC Santa Barbara that I took my first painting class. And that's when the first painting, he told us how to draw a grid and copy. He wanted us to copy one of the masters, so I copied.
Yeah, that's a common first start.
Right.
Yeah.
So I copied a Gauguin, and
But at this point, you had never painted before, or very, very mildly, like just nothing. And so you went from 0 to 60 in like one lesson, basically, having to learn how to copy what it was that you were copying, and then try to transfer the ideas that this master did, a couple hundred years ago, into what you're doing right now, and you had no background. Okay.
Yeah, I knew I was going to be taking a painting class, so I bought the materials, and I bought one cardboard, canvas. And I just played with the paints, and I did this, what a lot of beginners do, and just used all the colors and did this kind of rainbowy thing, and that was it.
Wow.
And then I didn't like it later, and I put, anyway.
So how did that first painting go?
Well, he came over, and it was on the easel. So he gave me an assignment, and a week later I bring it back, and it's on the easel, and I brought my paints, and he comes over, and he said, "Where have you painted before?" And I said, "I haven't. This is my first painting." And he didn't believe me. Well, though, he just looked at me like,
You're crazy.
Yeah. And so he studied it for a while. And it was this size painting. It was 30 by 48, pretty much. And he stared at it, and he pointed out just a small 2-inch square in the painting and said, "That's flat," and walked away. So I'm thinking,
what a weird thing.
Yeah. So I don't think he liked me.
He was probably jealous.
I don't know.
Anyway, okay.
But I sat there. I'm like, okay, that's flat. First I felt like, wow, I think that's the biggest compliment I ever got. And I need to understand, since he's not going to explain it to me, what flat is.
Right.
So I sat there and I compared that square inch to every other square, or that 2 squares to every other area of the canvas, and I figured it out.
Wow.
And that was the most valuable lesson. That just took me, that was it, since I already knew how to copy.
So this is an arts and consciousness.
No, this is
not the arts.
This is undergrad.
Oh, this is undergrad still. Oh my God. Okay.
And so, okay, let's skip. So then I painted some, and then I dropped out because I failed on one of my art history classes, and I thought I'm done. And I stopped for a while. And
That's it. I'm not an artist because I failed my art history class. Ugh.
And so I started taking that surface design. textile, surface and textile, and that was very satisfying and very detailed and really meditative. But then again, I was like, I need to get my degree, finish my degree. So I finished my degree at Hayward State, got an A in history, art history.
Vindication.
But then I needed a practical job, so I majored, there were two options, they called it options with your major, and one was computer animation, because that had just come into
Right.
surface, whatever.
Right, it just came into being.
Yes. Yeah. And the instructors didn't even know how to teach it yet because they didn't even know it. They were just learning it. So I was learning it as they were learning it, and I spent for a 3-second or 3-minute video, 18 hours on the computer. And so when I finished, I said, I'm not going to be on a computer ever again until I can talk to it, till I can stand up and tell it what to do. And I'm done. So I found an ad for a studio space in Oakland and got a little area, 10-foot wall, and with a collective of other artists. And I started painting there, and Waseni Kozrov is an artist that was in there with me, and we were just working back and forth, and he said, if you keep this up, you're going to have a show in a year. And I was going every day like it was a job. And then a couple weeks later, he said, if you keep this up, you're going to have a show in 6 months. And then he left for Ethiopia and came back, and I had a show in 3 months that almost sold out.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, and then I said, I don't know what I'm doing. I better go to school. And so then I enrolled in the Arts and Consciousness program.
Okay, so what is an art, this is what I keep wanting to know. What is an artist consciousness program? Because I've never heard of this grouping of words together before in terms of a degree.
Arts, so whatever arts.
Right.
Okay, so I would say to be aware of your process. To make the connections, because our awareness then is our consciousness, right?
Right.
What are we conscious of? So when we really dial in to where we are in the moment, as we're creating, as we're contemplating what we're doing, we're raising our consciousness about, we're just bringing awareness to more and more awareness to what we're doing.
Oh, it's
that's
interesting. Okay, because I'm thinking something completely different. I'm thinking art and spirituality, and that there's like some sort of spiritual practice that goes along with your art.
It could be.
It could be. So it's malleable. It's a malleable title that it becomes individual to every person that participates in the program.
Exactly. It's just opening you up to who you are, to what you're have an affinity toward, just to help self-awareness, self-growth. There was a dream studies program in there, so we did.
What school is this?
Well, it doesn't exist anymore, but the art part doesn't anyway. JFK it was in the annex where I went was in Berkeley, but the main campus was in Pleasant Hill,
California.
Yes.
Wow.
Northern California.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's quite a program.
It was such a great program.
I feel like I want that program.
I know.
Oh, okay. All right. So you have this show. It just about sells out.
And Hannah went to this.
This artist,
she graduated around the same time I did.
This is a really fun piece behind
which
us
we just
too.
Met each other through this exhibit. So again,
wow.
Yeah,
that's
we
crazy.
Reconnected through this exhibit.
So okay, so was that was apparently your launching pad then formally. I mean, you have a show and it gets sold out, and so then you just continue working.
Mm-hmm.
And have you always worked in abstracts, or did you start off more figurative? Like the first show, was it mostly abstracts? Or
Yes.
Was it, yes.
Yes.
Okay. So that's your love.
That's my love. But I did, while I was in school, I did enjoy figure painting. I did like the portrait a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I did some still life. I like flowers, and I might venture back into that at some point.
I find your whole travel line really interesting. The way it went everywhere.
It's kind of how I paint and cut hair and do life.
There's nothing wrong with that.
It's a spiral.
Yeah, no, I love it. It's real. It's real because, I mean, to think that the trajectory is here to here doesn't make any sense to me. This kind of trajectory, and then, that makes sense because that's the way it always is for most of us. I don't know. I've never met anybody that does it in a straight line.
Right. I don't think it is a straight line.
No, I don't think so either.
So, but you can see the line that connects it
Right.
when you look back, right?
Right.
Which is really cool.
Yeah, but it's all the little teeny tiny
Right.
things.
The detours.
All right. So how long ago was that you actually had that very first show? What year was that?
The very first show was 1997.
Okay, so that wasn't that long ago. I mean, it's sort of long ago in terms of now, but I mean, it wasn't that long ago. So how did it keep moving forward from there?
I then graduated, so I started school, graduated in 2003, had opened a hair salon art gallery in Berkeley, and started showing emerging artists, first time shows of other artists, and just fell in love. I was doing a show exhibition with live music and did the whole 9 yards with the postcards, and every 5 weeks for a couple of years, I guess.
So how did you pick your artists? I know that you picked emerging artists, but I mean, was it just based on what you loved? Did you think it wasn't about, or maybe it was also about what you thought you could sell, or that wasn't even?
Well, then I don't think I was thinking about if it could sell. I just feel like when you have a quality product, I don't really want to call it a product, but when you have a quality work,
Right.
someone's going to fall in love with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, I just wanted to show. I wanted it exposed. I wanted people to see art that I appreciated, right? That I just felt that was well thought out or
So this was a
well-crafted.
salon and an art gallery. So you were cutting hair by day and then doing
Events
events
night.
at night. Were you the only person in the salon cutting hair?
No,
You had
we had
multiple chairs?
7. Were they employed? 7 people.
Right, they probably bought their
Some
space.
of them were
Right.
renting. Some of them were employees. That was a growing lesson for sure.
Yeah, I bet. I have friends that have salons, and some of them are like, no more. And some of them love it. So, okay. So that was a big leap of faith right there. Just going from one. I know that there's lots of little things that connected it, but I mean, just starting an art gallery without anything.
I started with another stylist who had owned a gallery.
Oh.
Not a gallery. She had owned a salon.
Oh, okay.
before.
So she had the salon know-how.
Right, and I felt safer to open with her since she had that experience, and we were both artists.
What a nice combination. Okay, I'm going to ask you something sort of detailed to just opening a gallery. Did you guys already have in mind, like, I don't know what the going percentage is. I think it's like 50 or 60%. Did you just do it that way, that you just took 50 or 60% of?
You know what? I don't know what maybe 30 or 40% at that time, but now I take 50%.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm always wondering, like, the
Yeah.
concrete parts of that.
I think it was less. I think maybe 40%, but I'm not sure. I don't think it was 60. I don't know.
Okay, but at this point, you're still up in Berkeley. You're up in Northern California, and you somehow managed to get down here. So what happened there?
So I grew up on the bottom of the hill, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so my mother was still living here.
Okay.
And well, I sold the salon. What was it? I think I get restless. I want the next exciting challenge. And I moved to Hawaii, and I thought, I thought I would teach there for whatever reason. And it wasn't working. It wasn't well thought out. And I was talking to my mother, and since I was the youngest of 6, my older siblings we had family property and rentals, and I just assumed they were all taking care of it. Well, it wasn't being taken care of, in my opinion, that well. Well, it's not in my opinion, it just wasn't. It's another story.
Languishing.
It was another story, and most of the burden was on my mom.
Oh.
And so I and because that's the way she had it, right? And so when I don't know, I got the call, come visit, come home. So I went and I saw what was going on, and I called my brother in New York and I said, hey, come help me. And we started helping fix up the properties, and I don't know where we're going. So I came back. I decided Hawaii was not it, and I stayed around with my mom, helping for a while, and then I saw that one of the artists that I had gave his first show to at the hair salon was showing in a gallery in Palm Springs. So I went to see him, and I got offered a job at a gallery in Palm Springs.
Oh.
And I was working there for a while and creating, and that's when I got another great opportunity to show my work in Park City, Utah. And my paintings started flying off the walls there. And so it was very exciting. And then a few other detours. Relationship just took me in another direction. I was helping his situation and his family situation, putting it before me.
Okay, wait, I want to go back to something. So your art is selling off the walls in Park City. Is it still abstract work?
Mm-hmm.
Is it mostly black?
Red.
It's mostly red. So now you've switched over to I don't even know why I knew to ask this question. So it's mostly red at this point. Mm-hmm. Now, your work right now, or at least from what I can see, because I don't see everything, I only see some things, you have a lot of heart-centered, there's a heart piece here. I think we should, can you pick it up?
Yeah.
And let's show it to everybody. It's okay. So there are heart-centered pieces that I've been seeing. I'm sure that there's other things. So was the work was it like this, or was it completely different?
The red series. It's the
the
one in the corner, the one that's on the...
Okay.
And it's on my website,
Okay,
called the red series.
Okay, all right. So we'll talk about that in a minute too. Wow, okay. So, but you're still working abstract, because
right.
this is your love.
Yeah.
This is what you do.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. How did you get the opportunity in Utah?
So one of the gallery owners in Palm Springs took me under his wing, and showed me how to put my work together to present it to galleries. Mm-hmm. And also told me to go through Art in America, I believe, when they have the gallery listings in there. Mm-hmm. And he said, just go through every day, pick 20 galleries, or pick galleries that you think that your work might fit into, and send them an email with photos of your work. And I did that diligently for, 2, 3, 4 weeks, and then got a call.
Wow.
Where have I seen your work before? I don't know, but would you like to see more?
That's a great answer. I don't know where you've seen it. Around.
Yeah.
Around.
Maybe from my email.
Yeah, exactly. Is it familiar because you just saw it? Okay. All right. So, now, we're back now. You helping your partner, doing too much, giving too much of yourself. Everybody.
I just took.
Yeah.
It felt, his needs felt more important than mine at the time. So,
as a woman, unfortunately, we fall into that. It sucks.
and
But that's okay.
it's okay. So I ended up wanting out of Palm Springs, and I didn't. And I was looking for my next opportunity, and I was up with my family in the Bay Area again, and the conversation, there was a similar conversation just recently, and I was like, oh no, not again. But there was an unused airplane ticket that they could transfer, and it was going to expire in 10 or 12 days, and no one else wanted it. And in my head, I'm getting the voice to go to Santa Fe. And I'm like, are you sure no one wants this ticket? And so I got the ticket. I went to Santa Fe. I had to go. And so while I was there for 4 days, I got offered a job. I found a studio on Canyon Road. I got an apartment. Did I get the apartment? Yeah, I got the apartment then.
This was not your intention when you went there. You had no idea why you were going there.
Oh
Or
no,
did you?
I was looking for a place to live.
Oh, you were.
I was looking to get out of my mom's.
Oh, okay. So it was intentional.
Yeah.
Then. Wow.
Yeah.
How? Okay, I'm going to switch the conversation up just a little bit, because your intuition plays a big part in your life.
Mm-hmm.
How did you? Some people just have their intuition always, and they never turned it off. Was your intuition always there, or did you learn how to turn it on? Was your program part of the program, the Arts and Consciousness program, part of this, or what?
I think it was always there, because when I moved in with my roommate in college, the one that was an art major
and a business major. Okay.
Yes. So one day I came into the room and handed her book, and she looked at me and she said, "You are really weird." And I'm like,
Yeah. So.
yeah. I'm like, why? What did I do? Just handed you your book. She said, "But I didn't ask for it, and I need it." How did you know?
Oh, so you were tapping in without even knowing.
Yeah, and I believe that it didn't. She brought that to my attention, so I feel like the relationship with my mother was that way, that we just knew. We knew when. We just knew.
Do you do anything to make that grow?
Well, moving to Idlewild, I feel like it amplified it huge.
Really?
And that.
I mean, do you have a practice in place? I mean, are you a meditator or anything like that, or you just?
I try to stay present. I just try to bring myself back to my breath and my heart and what I'm feeling in my body, and just try to, watch my thoughts and listen.
What a beautiful place to operate from, really.
If I don't, I make huge mistakes. And if it's so, I've learned to trust it. Like these past 2 years in Idlewild have really, really made me comfortable with just accepting that that's the way I'm to operate.
Wow. Okay, and I'll go back to your story now.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I had to take that distraction because I did not want to forget about it. Thanks. So you're in Santa Fe at this point. You've got a job. You've got an apartment. You've only been there 4 days, but you've got all this stuff lined up.
Yeah, and I was told what to do there. That's when I was hearing voices, and I thought, whoa, can I tell this story? But was it my intuition? I don't know, but it was loud. Get out of the car, park right here, walk. The day before, I drove down Canyon Road, and I made a mental note. Okay, come here tomorrow morning and look at places, and maybe have lunch here or something. And I saw like the tea house, and I said, oh yeah, I'll go to the tea house and have a quiche or something. Just making up this story,
Yeah.
about how tomorrow's going to be.
Yeah.
And so the next day I go and I drive, and that's when I heard, okay, get out of your car and park and walk. So I'm walking, and I see a young couple across the street, and then I'm looking up at the shop that they're sitting across from, and it's a little tiny cafe, and he calls out to me, how you doing? And I said, good. And then I said, well, do you have anything to eat? And he said, yeah, I think today we have quiche. I said, well, that's so funny because that's just what I was asking for. Like, that's just what I wanted. He didn't know how serious I was.
Right, exactly.
So I went into the shop. Every time I went to get up, I was so engaged in the conversation with both of them, and it just felt so right. But every time I went to get up, because I'm here for a purpose, I couldn't get out of my chair. It was just like, no, you're sitting here and staying. I was there for 4 hours. I finally get up, finish walking down the street. There's a sign, there's a whole building for rent. So I call the number on it, and I see this cute little 600 square foot perfect studio space with perfect skylights, and she tells me the price, and I say, okay, thank you. It's way out of my price range. Driving back to the hotel room, no, call her back. Just because that's the price she asked, that doesn't mean that's what you have to pay. I'm like, okay, so I call her back. She said, my dad will meet you there the next morning. And he gave it to me for half the price. I know. And it was just, I don't know, if you've never been to Santa Fe, it's magical. This Idlewild is the first place that I've been since I've left Santa Fe that is
It's magical. It's
remotely
magical.
magical. Mm-hmm.
It's magical here. There's a few places like this that
Mm-hmm.
exist in the world. So, this story is not. I mean, I don't know what I was expecting, but this wasn't it. Honestly. Okay, so you're in Santa Fe. How long were you there?
4 years.
4 years.
So that's when I started teaching the method that I put together in the book.
Okay, so this is a really great time to talk about this book that she has. And you're going to see it backwards, but it says abstract. And this is, I came in here, and this is one of the things I saw when I came in. So she's got a book on how to do abstract art, which is super cool. It's not really big, but you don't need it to be. It just walks you through the steps of everything. This is really awesome. And also, you should get, can
One
you
of the
bring over,
kits?
yeah, she's got a painter's kit that's really awesome too. Painter's kit.
Can you see Luna out there?
Pardon me?
Can you see Luna? Is she?
Luna? Oh, let me look for the dog. Hold on. Oh yeah, she's sleeping.
Oh, good.
Luna's asleep.
Okay,
So
this
she's
is-
also got this abstract painter's kit, and inside the kit,
Oh, don't open it.
don't open it. Don't open
Don't
it.
open it. That's what's inside the kit.
Okay, what's inside the kit? Tell us.
a
Acrylic paint, acrylic medium, acrylic paper, brushes, a guidebook. Is it this guidebook?
It's that
this
guidebook.
palette knives, and a scraper tool. So it's really, I mean,
And
all
more.
in one. It's when we finish this interview, we'll put up.
Well, it's just that all the paint. It's
It's okay, you
It's
don't have
my
to
own.
open it.
It's my handmade creation.
It's okay. When we're done talking, we'll put up a link so that you guys can
Oh, yeah, you
actually
can find it, yeah.
find it and all the rest of that stuff, and find her and find the gallery. Okay, so you're in Santa Fe for 4 years, and you started teaching there.
I started teaching the method, and the method that I developed from when I was staying at my mom's, because there was no room for me to paint large, and I went a little crazy. I had her crazy with not knowing what to do with this energy, and that was probably the first time that I realized how important creativity is. So there was a little area on her sewing table, and I thought, okay, I'll just work small on paper. It won't take up much room. And then I developed the process, and it was after she had taught me quilting and making the squares, and I noticed how after every square, each square got better.
Right. Well, you get better and better at it because you're just doing it over and over.
Yes, but it was all scrap. It was just, it was just very intuitive. It's just putting it together like a collage, and you're excited about it. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's so cool. And I want to do another one, so I do the next one. And then when you see them all up together, you see the progression, and you see how you've evolved in just a very short amount of time.
That's a really great way to work. I like that.
Yeah, I like working in multiples, and that's what I teach in the book, is to be working on 3 at a time, at the same time.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Completely. Do you, when you work on 3 at a time, are you doing all the same? Is it basically the same painting?
No.
No, so it's just a version of, or
It'll be related, but they could be different
Right.
colors. But it's so, because our intuition needs to flow, and when we overthink it, or when so the way that I say it is, there's this natural pause. You're working, and then there's a natural pause that we take, and when that pause hits, I usually suggest go to the next painting.
right.
And then interchange, because the next painting will answer what needs to happen next in the previous painting.
Oh, this is like music. This is like call and response.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, you ask the question, and then somebody, whether it's the music itself, the rhythm, or the lyrics, you know, but you ask the question and then you get the answer. So this is through painting. Da 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 da. News, big news flash. Okay. Wow. Okay. All right. So then you came. Okay. So
then I started teaching. So I set up. So this was another meant to do this. The first thing I needed to do was get a sign that said art classes, because I was going to give tourists a hands-on experience with paint, while I was selling all my paintings. Well, no, because I'm a little fish in a big sea on Canyon Road, and so by the end I was in the middle of the road, and the most common comment I would hear is, "We wish we would have seen you before. We already bought 4 paintings." But I really believe the people that were coming to me were my students, and that's where I realized that I really love to teach, and they were serious. They really wanted to learn, so it challenged me, and I loved it, and I just loved it.
yeah.
I loved what I was doing there.
Hi. How are you? We just had a person walk into the gallery, so if we go off topic, you'll know why.
Okay.
Yeah. There's Bonnie. My friend Bonnie is watching.
Oh, hi, Bonnie.
Hi, Bonnie. Is there anything?
Oh, you can ask him.
Is there anything we can help you with?
No, we're just looking.
Okay, feel free. There's lots of cool stuff. It's not even my store, and I'm touting it.
You're practicing for when you have your own store?
Well, we're doing an interview.
We're doing an interview. We're on
Live.
camera right now.
Oh, no, you're good.
Yeah, you're
totally
fine.
good.
Don't worry about
This
it.
is part of it. It's
Yeah,
all natural.
you can be on
organic.
camera too if you'd like. We'll include you.
First time to Idlewild, or
Yes, first time.
how do you like it?
We love it.
We love it.
It's beautiful
Yeah.
up here, isn't it?
Very nice, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So how did you end up in Idlewild?
So COVID came.
Yeah. Oh, COVID. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was in Palm Springs, and Palm Springs was like a ghost town.
Yeah.
And I came up here to retreat, and the space was open.
This space is an incredible space.
Yeah. It's magic.
Yeah.
The light. Oh,
You
maybe
can't
can-
see, but there's
can show
there's
maybe.
windows and skylights and beautiful wood and wood beam trusses, and it's not it's small but cozy. It's a great little space. It'd be a great little house space too.
I
But
know.
I'd like to live here.
So it brought me up here, and I was used to a 1,200 square foot space in Palm Springs
And
with
this is what, like
350.
Yeah, it's
With
small.
the deck, though, it makes it double. I put artwork out there as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks,
See you again.
bye.
So what I discovered soon was that yes, I have art hanging everywhere, but it took, at first I kept it minimal, like, so there wasn't, I didn't know how I was going to present the work that I was presenting before because it's too large. So I brought in some of my students or clients and some local artists, and one time I asked Tim Johnson, I said, can you bring some more art? Because I feel like I think I can find some more room for it. And he brought 12 or more paintings. And I thought, well, I didn't mean that many. But all of a sudden the walls just kept expanding. And from that point on, I thought, okay, just bring as many as you want. And I always find a place, and one's rotating out, selling, and it's just It's so much fun.
So you've been in this space 2 years now?
Mhm.
So COVID time. Oh my gosh.
I opened in July 2020, and this was like a haven for people to come to.
Wow. Because that was not a great time in terms of everything else.
But they needed it, and I knew they needed
Yeah.
it. And I needed it.
And so this has been a successful space for you.
Mhm.
It's quite beautiful. So tell me about the work that you're doing now. I take it that you're still working in terms of art all the time.
Yes. So, been focusing on my heart. So the hearts for me were it was a process that I could know what I was ending up with. I feel like my English is getting really bad.
Here, do you need to hold this up
Well,
again to me?
this one came out of what I call the Cocoon series. But I call this my scarab heart.
Here, I'll hold it. You can.
Yeah.
You can just
Anyway,
talk.
so I feel like none of my hearts look alike, and that was the point, that I wanted to be able to explore my process. I wanted to explore different materials. I wanted to explore different ways of working, yet have a recognizable object at the end. Or yeah, and that was the idea. But really, if I were to go deeper, there's a lot more going on about the heart, about about coming from the heart and really getting out of the head. And I mean, there's just layers and layers and
Right.
layers what it can represent.
Right.
And I feel like they all represent something different, and they all come up at a time when I'm not even knowing what's coming through until maybe sometimes much later. And then I'm like, oh wow. So, and then a friend of mine, another artist, she said, these are wonderful, and it's really what the world needs more of. And that was all I needed to hear. And I just keep doing it. Along with just standard
Standard
abstract
abstract
art. Yeah, standard abstract.
As standard as abstract art can be.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Put it back. Yeah. So
And are you working larger or smaller these days, or varied?
I really like working larger. I really want to work. The most recent heart that I sold was 54 by 54.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And that went to Salem, Oregon.
Uh-huh.
So I'd like to make another that size, because there's something really satisfying working that large. The way that you get to work with the materials, just really fluid, and I like putting my whole body into it and playing in the sand.
So since you're a person that likes to skip around and try new things all the time, and I'm not going to say easily distracted, because I don't think that you are. I think that you're just
You might
looking.
be.
I don't know. I think just you're looking for something bigger. You outgrow things. So are you still very much here, or do you already have your sights on something that you'd like to get to? What's coming up for you?
Bigger audience for the work, more going online, and I really enjoy helping others get through their process and become conscious of where they're at in their process. So I'm not about people painting the way I paint. I want people to really paint who they are in their
Right.
unique expression. And I love helping people get through their perceived blocks. And so a way that I can do that and paint larger scale, I'd like to just continue. I'd like to dive. The Red series gave me an opportunity to really dive in. It was like writing a novel. I had no other responsibilities other than helping out at the gallery in Palm Springs once in a while.
It freed you up to just do that.
Just paint.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel pretty settled here, because where am I going to go? And I have a really nice studio space. I know. I could go somewhere. But the community here is great and supportive, and the weather's right. So.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful.
And actually, where I live has helped me settle because it's so remote that we're in Gardner Valley that it's not easy for me to just jump up and get distracted and go do something else. It pulls me back, and that's how I got the book done and the kit. And
All the rest of it.
yeah.
Well, I think that is amazing. I think this is a really good place to stop.
Okay.
We've got more customers in the store, and I don't want to distract from that. Is there any last thing that you'd like our audience to know about
About
you? Want
me.
to share? I don't know. Anything. Any last words?
Last words. Keep painting.
Or
making whatever you do.
Whatever.
That is that's the best therapy. That's the best medicine. Just tap into who you are.
That's it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you guys for
Thank
being
you.
here. Talk to you later. Bye.
Come visit.
Yeah.